All right, everybody. I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's Eve. I am your host, Rayron VR. Today, we're going to take a look at the year in review for this channel. I've been wanting to do a podcast on this channel for a while now. I just haven't been able to really find um I don't know. It's been difficult to me to figure out behind the scenes how to get a podcast on here. And I've been toying with the idea with the IC station for a while now. It's been something that I've been wanting to do. I just haven't been able to put all the pieces together to really make it come together essentially. But today I was finally able to figure it out, and the IC Station podcast is now born. Something that I'm probably going to end up doing is do this show probably once a month. I know there's a lot of people that like to do podcasts and so forth, so it's something I've been wanting to do. But for this particular episode, I just kind of want to recap the year 2021 on the channel, and then also talk about my engine of the year, which I'll show you guys a little bit later, and I'll talk about the future for this particular channel. So I am definitely excited for 2022. So with that, we're going to go ahead and talk about kind of the year in review. So let's go ahead and do this. All right, so this channel has been I kind of have to go back a little bit with my history. So I've been trying to do content creation for about 12 years now. I've been kind of on and off, been trying to experiment with things, trying to do. I tried to have a business partner through all this, but that kind of just fell through. And so there have been times when things just fall through. I tend to take a break from things. And then it wasn't until this year that I was finally able to really bring everything together. And so, kind of almost about a year ago today, I started to experiment with just simple clips that I would do from my phone to see where I could take things. And then I just had fun with it. And this was kind of my first video clip here. This is when I had a simple, easy track layout. This little guy right here is the big boy, Riverossi 4002 engine in the Greyhound fantasy scheme. And that's what kind of just started everything for me. And then from there, I had this idea of making a layout where one side would be like a little small village where this fantasy dragon would live, and then the other side would be like the city. And so I had these porcelain buildings that I wasn't really doing anything with. And so I wanted to expand upon that fantasy realm a little bit. And so I still wasn't originally I wanted to do like a Mr. Rogers inspired content, but I realized that it required a lot of time, a lot of production, and just time I really didn't have to edit and to really market the way I really wanted to. And so it kind of evolved into the Mythical Lands layouts, which is basically a modular layout that has basically two balloon ends to create a layout. Hey, Mystical Southern Railway, how you doing? Happy New Year's to you, good sir. And so the Mythical Lands layout was created. And it was basically, I was able to grab these two modular sections from a club member of mine who was giving it away for free. And it's like, I need to get this because this is perfect for me because I typically move thanks to my IRL job. And I ended up creating two 4x4 balloon sections so that way I can have a looping layout. And that's where a good chunk of my content kind of started. Now, obviously, this layout has evolved a little bit more. It's got obviously the dragon end, it's got a Godzilla end, and you guys can see that in all the other videos I created. But then in April of this year, I did a lot of content for SLOMRA, which is the Model Railroad Association that I'm a part of. And it's a modular club. And I just took a lot of shorts from my camera phone here. And then I just started to do a few other things. So I started to create modular sections and started to just have fun with it. And it's basically evolved to what is known today as the Dragon's branch line, which I kind of did a little bit later on in the career a little bit. I apologize, my dogs are howling in the background. They love to howl from time to time. And so I started creating my second layout, which is a modular 12-inch wide, typically by 36 inches width layout. And if I can find the video here, I can show you guys. But I've kind of actually, I'll do my latest video here. So this was on this guy right here. So this particular video has kind of the latest. I gotta do an update video on this, but it's basically I have three. I'm trying to remember 4 original modulars, and then I added a fifth one called Wilding, which is basically I bought it from a club member of mine that originally was supposed to be 8 corners. That way, you can create a whole loop of HO scale track. But 2 of them were damaged, and so it is 6 modules that I purchased. I'm going to eventually build the other 2, so that way we can have a full circle modular DCC layout by Digitrax. Well, it's going to be a hybrid. I'm going to use Digitrax. I'm going to use DigiKeys. I know, right? Yep, that was Mary. She was trolling me on that video. But those were the days. So yeah, in the future, I plan to have 2 layouts. The Mythical lands, what's cool about that layout is that I can convert it from DC to DCC. I've got a Digitrax Zypher 51 that I use on the Mythical lands, and then I got a DS52 that I use on the Dragon's Branchline modular layout. Right now, it's just point to point with the Dragon's modular layout, but I can't wait to get it to full circle. But yeah, it's been quite a year. It's been a fun year. I've been expanding on my collection. I've been participating in train shows. I think definitely the highlight of the year was going to the see if I can find it here. My first train show in like almost 10 years, to be honest with you. It's been a while. And that was the if I can find it. Oh yeah, that was the Tehachapi Loop train show. And there we met another famous member of our community, Lynn McCurdy. So I was able to meet him in person, and that was such a fun time. It was nice going to a train show again, seeing all sorts of different scales from Z scale to N scale to O, Lionel, and HO, obviously. And yeah, it was a fun time. And then we had the Central Coast Railroad Festival, and that's when I really documented a ton of stuff. Yeah, the passenger train. Yeah, I've had so many passenger trains this year. It's been I've been collecting a lot. This year really amplified me getting into the hobby a lot. I collect a lot of Union Pacific and Heritage Fleet type of HO trains, from the Colorado Eagle to UP passenger train to Chicago Northwestern, Southern Pacific. I've been collecting a lot, and then my latest one that I got was the American Oriental Express passenger car train that I ended up showcasing in this video right here for the my version of the Winter Express with my Broadway Limited engine. But yeah, and we really just expanded from there. Ended up doing a lot of turntable art. I started to dip into a whole bunch of different things, try to do some railroad news. Definitely the biggest railroad news of the year easily came down to the Southern Pacific. Jesus, no, it's the Canadian Pacific, Canadian National inheritance of or trying to buy the Kansas City Southern train line. That was huge news. And then obviously the big boy coming back. That was fun, just tracking and seeing where it's at. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Union Pacific, especially transitional era. So I'm all about the big boy, the Challenger, the gas turbines. That era is just one that I love forever. And then out of all of my channels this year, this channel actually broke a record with viewership. And this little guy right here, let me see if I can find the video. Yeah, this guy right here. I don't know what it was, but this video right here broke records for me. Out of all the channels that I've done, this is the first one that naturally hit over 1,000 views. I guess the algorithm gods were in our favor, but and even my follow-up videos of this particular engine. This is the Walther's SP chroma key configuration diesel engine, and this was the best video of the year for me. It was just a simple test run of it, and I was very grateful for that. And so I did a couple of follow-on videos for that. We did a turntable. I think I did an unboxing one. But yeah, it's been quite a year. One thing that I really want to focus on a little bit more though is I've got a GoPro and I want to use it a little bit more. But the problem is that I'm actually moving in 2022. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do content. In fact, the Mythical Lands layout, I've got one more video to do on it, and then I'm actually going to tear it down because again, I am moving, so that's why everything is modular. So that's why they're easily shippable and so forth. But yeah, those are going to be unfortunately coming down, and then the Dragons branch line will be coming down probably after April of this year. So yep, but I'll be doing more content, and I'll do a big video saying that, hey, I'm moving, I won't be able to post content for a while. And then kind of the series that's been doing well in this channel, and one that I really want to focus on a lot going in the future too, is the Rolling Roads. And basically, if you guys don't know, I think it's called a DCC Concepts Rolling Roads system. It's a little bit expensive, but what it does is it allows the engine to freely move in place stationary. And this series has been definitely one of my more popular ones on the channel, and it's one that I'm going to try to focus on a little bit more. So it's either going to be Cheyenne, Wyoming, which is going to be awesome for this channel if I can actually move. It depends on my job. So it's either Cheyenne, Wyoming, or potentially Louisiana. Either case is going to be good for rail fanning. So because that's part of the big boy branch line for Union Pacific. So it's going to be nice, especially if I can get Cheyenne. Cheyenne will be really nice because obviously that's the home of the big boy, the Heritage Fleet. I will be an hour and a half away from the Greenlee, Colorado Railroad Museum, which I've been there several times. And so if I'm able to go there, there'll be a lot more content for this channel if I can get there. So, and last I checked, there was also like a model railroading club in the mall in Cheyenne. So New Orleans, nice. Yeah, I'll be potentially Shreveport area. So about a couple hours north of northwest of New Orleans. Yeah. So either or, it's gonna be great for rail fanning. So I can't wait. I am excited. Definitely excited. And then we had some other interesting news that happened. Microengineering was up for sale, so that was definitely big news this year because microengineering does a lot of the non-typical track gauging production work that they do, especially for like branch line type of operations. Like Code 70, I think they're one of the big manufacturers of Code 70. So that was definitely big news for this year. And then, yeah, we kind of just wrapped up. I try to do like a winter theme videos for the month of December. I was gonna do one more video with this one, but again, just with the movie and everything, I kind of just decided to scrap it and do this video instead, or this stream, I should say. So, but yeah, that's basically the recap of this year. It's been quite busy, but quite awesome at the same time. Man, a lot of awesome streamers here on the platform. Great, fantastic community from Humanity Junction to New Tracks Modeling to um, Happy Modeling or Happy. Oh man, I forgot already. Um, Happy Model Hobbies, I think, if I remember correctly. But anyways, um, yeah, it's just been a great year. So also, if you guys are not aware, I'm also create other stuff on my other channel. So it's just been a busy year all around. I've been making obviously this channel, which is the Mythical Railroad channel that I do. This channel is 100% dedicated to model railroading. And then I I'm also into a whole bunch of other things. So I've got my After Dark channel, which is basically where I focus on popular culture, movies, anime, manga, and so forth. So I've been working on that channel. I've got my Endless Collectibles channel where I work on, well, I just showcase everything that I have, from pop vinyls to figurines to Warhammer 40K stuff to all sorts of different things. And then I've been working on the gaming channel, my newest channel, because I just love, gaming. So, but yeah, it's just been a fantastic year. Just doing everything that I like, talking to the community that we have here, and man, it's just been a great ride. So with that, that's basically the year in review as far as the channel is concerned. I'm excited. This podcast will be a staple now on the channel, and something that I want to do with this particular podcast. Obviously, I want to invite guests eventually. I want to expand upon it a little bit more. I've been wanting to do a podcast on this channel for a while. Originally, I had derailed conversations, but I realized it really wasn't something that I didn't. It wasn't for me. It wasn't me trying to do a derailed conversations podcast. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So which games? Okay, so I do a lot of sandboxy type of games. Right now, I'm really passionate about space. And so on my After Dark channel, I do a podcast over there called the Icey Knights podcast, which I talk about a lot of space stuff. And to kind of mimic that on the gaming side, I've been doing a lot of Kerbal Space Program. So that's kind of the one that I've been focusing on right now. But I do like Minecraft. I do Magic the Gathering, Pokemon trading card game, Splitgate. But I focus a lot more on sandboxy type of game. That's usually my genre that I usually go to. My next video is probably going to be Universal Sandbox, because that just looks like epic fun. Yep, Star Citizen. Yep, that's a good game. Don't play it much, but yeah, I definitely heard of that one. All right, so that's pretty much the channel in review. I am excited. And now let's go over to my model train of the year. So let's go ahead and bring this into focus here. Assuming that Streamlabs is going to cooperate. Let's see. I eventually want to move over to OBS normal, but it's a little too integrated right now for what I do. All right, so what I want to showcase right now is basically the train that I have enjoyed running, very few derails on it, and something that's very special to me. So now we're going to transition over to the table here. All right. All right, so this big box right here, I was actually very, very, very lucky to get this guy. I was over with a club friend of mine who's also my mentor, who's also basically taught me everything that I know now. But we were just going through his collection and everything, and he noted that, hey, I noticed that you like transitional era UP. And it's like, yeah, I've been collecting them. I've got the Veranda, I've got the Gen 1 Turbine, the big boys, Challengers, and so forth. But the one engine I didn't have is this guy right here. And so when he opened this up and showed me it, I had to have it. It took me a while to pay it off, but it is an engine that is probably one of the rarest in my collection, and I'm very, very happy to have it. And this has a lot of sentimental value to me because I actually saw this engine in real life. So I grew up in Utah, and so this engine is actually on display at the Ogden train station, and that is this guy right here. So this is the gas turbine, otherwise known as the Big Blow. This guy is just one massive engine. And when I knew Scale Trains announced this, but I could never afford it, but yet when I was able to get my hands on this guy, I'm gonna say I was super happy. So yes, this is the gas turbine from Scale Trains. I'm hoping I can get this into picture here. So you've got the G-Tel 8500 horsepower turbine, the gas turbine electric locomotive. There's only 2 left in the world. The others were scrapped and reused. One lives in Ogden, Utah. The other one I think is in Iowa. But yeah, here she is. I ran this a few times, and I love I love this engine so much. I think I only have one video on this. I'm planning to make a second one coming up. It'll be on the Dragon's Branch line to really showcase just how crazy this engine is. So this is an A unit. This is a B unit. So both of these are engines that are DCC, and you got a coder and all that. This B unit sound is ridiculous. When you crank up that gas turbine, it is a jet engine essentially. And it is loud. But I gotta give props to Scale Trains. It is definitely expensive. The most expensive engine in my collection. But it is beautiful. Nicely packaged, durable. The one thing about Scale Trains, though, that I don't like is the trucks. Scale Trains is really obsessive about detail. In fact, they're so obsessed about detail that you have to cut off detail for these things to actually run properly, especially on the trucks. Even on this guy, I find myself having to trim down a few of the little details and odds and ends on the trucks so that way it doesn't get caught on the track. There's been plenty of times where the connection between tracks where the frogs and joiners meet, it will catch it and then get stuck. So this is number 26, the Ogden, Utah Depot edition. So this is our A unit. Now, one thing I got to give props to Scale Trains is that once you do trim off the little bits on the truck, so that way it can actually move freely left and right, these things run really nice, and they're very heavy too. This is a very heavy locomotive. So that is the cab. Yeah, this is Scale Trains did a wonderful job on this. And since they just acquired MTH tooling on the HO side of the house, they now have all the tooling for all 3 gas turbines because MTH made, and I've got them too, the Gen 1 gas turbine, the Veranda turbine, and now they've got the Big Blow. So now they have all 3 to tool with. All right, so this is the B unit. This is the turbine. Again, just notorious amount of detail on Scale Trains. Their river counters are just obscenely detailed. Like it is very difficult to find a spot to grab onto because you've got the ladders, the rung of the ladders here are all detailed. All these doors move, so you can actually see the inside of the turbine. So yeah, you can kind of see it in there. So massive amount of props to Scale Trains. Okay, up here you can see kind of the exhaust. Now this exhaust caused a lot of problems for Cheyenne and the Wyoming government because this exhaust was so hot when it came out of this turbine that it would actually melt the bridges that this train would go under. So they had to put a lot of restrictions and limitations to when they can activate that gas turbine. Also, one thing I would recommend. So both scale trains and I think MTH have these these couplers. I can't really. They come with their own couplers, and it's more realistic. When it comes to operational, I would replace them in a heartbeat. I still got to replace them on this guy. I like the number 5 McCady's instead of the McHenrys. I think the McHenrys are the ones that are installed on this one by default, and I don't like them. I've had a lot of uncoupling issues and height differences, and it just there's not great. So I would recommend replacing all those with the number 5 Katy couplers. Check something here real quick. So much detail. All right, and finally, got the water tank. I think it's a water tank, or it could be the gas. I always get this confused. I think this is actually the fuel, the bunker diesel fuel. I mean, I gotta do more research to figure exactly what type of fuel they use. But now, what's interesting about this, from what I've read, is that and this is, you can see like the chains moving. I don't know if you can see the chains moving in there. See, that is the type of detail that's crazy about scale trains. But it was definitely worth every penny. And that's why I did a video on this guy too. It's like Scale Trains announced that they were going to do a second run of these in HO scale. That's why I did a video on it, because these models are just fantastic. And I was really happy when they were going to do another re-release of these, because they're good engines. Because originally, before Scale Trains started to produce these guys, the only way to get this was like was the brass. Overland brass, I think, was the only models for this. So would I ever weather that? Heck no. I'm not that type of person that would weather anything. If I do weather anything, it will be like very cheapo engines and very cheapo freight cars to get the realism. But I'm not that type of modeler that would model something like this. I like my engines nice, bright, and shiny to really get all the details. I know some other modelers would try to make it as realistic as possible and paint it and everything. That's just not me. I like the shiny. So yeah, this is the book that you get on how to code it and all that fun stuff. Now, one thing I did have to do is I went into JMRI with this engine, and I definitely cranked down the gas turbine volume down, because when you turn that puppy on, it is deafening. It is a deafening roar from that thing. They accurately modeled it, but and you can see all the detail that comes with this, all the features, the breakout. This is crazy. Just look how many parts this thing has. That's just for the A unit. Here's the B unit. Yeah, that is and then for the tender. Yeah, that's crazy. Low key sound. True color paint. It's a nice little. I love how the scale trains. The details is just great. I'm really excited to see where they're going to take the MTH because I love MTH as well. And now that Scale Trains has got MTH tooling, it's going to be very interesting to see where they're going to take that. Because I want Scale Trains to start producing their MTH steam engines because MTH had the big boy, they had the Challenger. One thing that I really want Scale Trains to start releasing is a GS4. We need another company to produce the Daylight GS4 engine. I'm tired of Bachmann GS4s. I know Broadway Limited had a limited run, and I wish they would do another rerun of those. But we need some more competition on the GS4 front with the Daylight engine. So yeah, that is my DCC engine of the year. And something I want to do more next year too is I kind of want to have like a mini award ceremony. It's like, what's my best DC engine? What's my best DCC? And so forth to really capture just the hobby in general. So yeah, I love this engine so much. Okay. So let's talk about the future. So I kind of talked about it a little bit. So for this particular channel, I want to, well, I got the move coming up. So what I would like to do is I want to live stream a lot more. That's something I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to live stream from the Mythical Lands layout, but the problem with it is that my computer and my layout are in two different rooms. I'm hoping when I move, I will combine those so that way I can do live streaming of not only from the Mythical Lands layout, but from the Dragon's Branch line. So that's a big goal of mine, is to try to live stream a lot more, because unfortunately I can only do videos for right now because of the locations of everything, of all my equipment. And another thing I want to do is I want to get my Dragon's Branch line in a full circle. I want to have all my modulars together. I've got my corners that I still have to lay down track, but I am very, very close. I'm very close to getting that layout completed. But that's not going to happen until after I move. I already talked about this podcast. This podcast is going to be the flagship podcast going forward for this channel. I eventually want to bring up guests, just talk about anything model railroading related, anything trains related, and just have a good time chatting. Right now, because of my time, this podcast is probably going to be once a month, and it's probably going to be like the last Saturday of the year is probably where I'm going to be focusing on, probably around this time frame is what I'm shooting for, or maybe a little bit later around 2 p.m. Either Pacific or Eastern or Central, wherever I'm at, it'll be around 2 o'clock my time. But going forward, it'll be Pacific Standard Time, 2 o'clock at the end of each month. Just kind of to recap everything that's been going on in the world of trains in general. But yeah, I am excited for the future. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to take it with you guys with me on this mythical journey through model railroading and just through trains in general. I'm hoping we can go to a lot more train shows. There's 2 train shows I had the opportunity to go to, but they were like a 3 to 4 hour drive, and I just couldn't make it. I really wanted to, but there'll be one coming up in April that I'll be able to get to because I'm in charge of it. And hopefully there'll be a few more others this year, but it all depends on California. California's been hit and miss right now on the rules with the Omniflu, as I'm calling it. But I cannot wait. Cannot wait. So, all right, and that's pretty much all I had to talk about. Again, 2021 has been a great year. This channel saw a lot of growth. I'm hoping by this time next year, I would like to get all 4 of my channels to 100 subscribers. But again, with the move, it may or may not be realistic. We'll just have to see. So, but with that, guys, that is all I have for this particular podcast. Yep, I will definitely try. But yeah, guys, have a safe and happy new year. And I will see you guys next year.